Welcome to Vedic Wisdom Insights. Glory to my Guru Swami Mukundananda for showering his blessings on me and everybody. Welcome to our ongoing Isopanisad series. In the last episode, we discussed about feeling Lord's presence in everything and everywhere. How Uttama Adhikari see every living being as his own brother and sees the spirit soul within the material body and serves him as spirit. In today's episode, we will discuss in a comprehensive way that though living entities are part of God, but they are never equal with God in qualities and quantities. This is 7th verse from Isopanisad. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhut vijatanta tatra ho moha kaha shoka ekatvam anupasyayat. Translation: one who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks in quality one with the Lord becomes a true knower of things. What then can be illusion or anxiety for him? Except for the Madhyama Adhikari and Uttama Adhikari, no one can correctly see the spiritual position of a living being. In terms of qualities, the living entities are one with the Supreme Lord, just as the sparks of a fire are qualitatively one with the fire. Yet sparks are not fire as far as quantity is concerned, for the quantity of heat and light present in the sparks is not equal to that in fire. The Mahabhagavad, the great devotee, sees oneness in the sense that he sees everything as the energy of the Supreme Lord. Since there is no difference between the energy and the energetic, there is a sense of oneness. Now here we must be extremely attentive, as there is a depth of philosophy and need to understand it properly. Although from the analytical point of view, heat and light are different from fire, there is no meaning to the word fire without heat and light. In synthesis, therefore, heat, light and fire are the same. In this mantra, the words ekatvam anupasyayata indicate that one should see the unity of all living entities from the viewpoint of the revealed scriptures. The individual sparks of the Supreme Whole, the Lord, possess almost 80% of the known qualities of the whole, but they are not quantitatively equal to the Supreme Lord. These qualities are present in minute quantity, for the living entity is but a minute part and parcel of the Supreme Whole. To use another example, the quantity of salt present in a drop is never comparable to the quantity of salt present in the complete ocean. But the salt present in the drop is qualitatively equal in chemical composition to all the salt present in the ocean. If the individual living being were equal to the Supreme Lord, both qualitatively and quantitatively, there will be no question of his being under the influence of the material energy. In the previous mantras, it has already been discussed that no living being, not even the powerful demigods, can surpass the Supreme Being in any respect. Therefore, ekatvam does not mean that a living being is equal in all respects to the Supreme Lord. However, it does indicate that in a broader sense, there is one interest. Just as in a family, the interest of all members is one, or in a nation, the national interest is one, although there are many different individual citizens. Since the living entities are all members of the same Supreme Family, their interest and that of the Supreme Being are not different. Every living being is a son of the Supreme Being. In the Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, 5th verse, it says that all living creatures throughout the universe are emanations of the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, all of them belong to the family of Supreme Being. There is no clash of interest. The spiritual entities are meant for enjoyment as stated in the Vedanta Sutra, Ananda Mayo Bhayasat. By nature and constitution, every living being including the Supreme Lord and each of his parts and parcels, is meant for eternal enjoyment. The living beings who are engaged in the material world are constantly seeking enjoyment, but they are seeking it on the wrong platform. Apart from the material platform is a spiritual platform, where the Supreme Being enjoys himself with his innumerable associates. On that platform, there is no trace of material qualities, and therefore that platform is called Nirgun. On the Nirgun platform, there is never a clash over the object of enjoyment. Here in the material world, there is always a clash between different individual beings because here the proper center of enjoyment is missed. The real center of enjoyment is the Supreme Lord, who is the center of the sublime and spiritual rasa dance. We are all meant to join him and enjoy life with one transcendental interest and without any clash. That is the highest platform of spiritual interest. And as soon as one realizes this form of oneness, there can be no question of illusion or lamentation. The results of our activities must be used to serve the interest of the Lord and not for any other purpose. Only by serving the Lord's interest, we can perceive the Atma Bhuta interest mentioned here. Do remember the Atma Bhuta interest mentioned in this mantra and the Brahma Bhuta interest mentioned in Bhagavad Gita are one and the same. The Supreme Atma is the Lord himself and the minute Atma is the living entity. The Supreme Atma or Paramatma alone maintains all the individual minute beings, for the Supreme Lord wants to derive pleasure out of their affection. The Para Brahman is as much a person as the individual entities. Neither the Lord nor the living entities are impersonal. Such transcendental personalities are full of transcendental bliss, knowledge and life eternal. That is a real position of spiritual existence. And as soon as one is fully cognizant of this transcendental position, he at once surrenders onto the lotus feet of the Supreme Being, ShreeKrishna. But such a Mahatma is very rarely seen, because such transcendental realization is achieved only after many births. Once it is attained, however, there is no longer any illusion or lamentation or the miseries of material existence or birth and death, which are all experienced in our present life. So here, what a clear and beautiful link is given by Lord to remove our miseries and not to lament on the past and get anxious of future. We are soul and energy of God. The God is sitting in our heart as Paramatma. We must surrender to God and Guru. That will slowly, systematically and gradually remove all our impurities like fear, anxiety, tension, attachment, desires and instant gratification. Once we are surrendered, then with all these activities, our minds will become pure and clean, which then will become attached to Lord and detached from material world. Hare Krishna and Jai Shri Ram.